7:46, we're back here on your Tuesday morning. Our chance to talk municipal politics and how do we get more millennials running for office? Well, Gavin Dew, a big part of a forum for millennial leadership that's happening today, joining us right now. Welcome to you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You did a poll, Metro Vancouver and Fraser Valley. What did you find that is happening? Two questions to start us off. One, young leadership that currently exists in office, and two, young leaders that you see running this time around.
Yeah, great question. So, look, right now, if you look at Metro Vancouver, it's one of the largest concentrations of millennials in all of Canada. 38% of the population of Metro Vancouver is millennials. And yet, out of 155 mayors and councillors across Metro Vancouver, there's only about 12 of them who are under 40. But that looks set to change because there are 100 people, 100 millennials who are running for mayor and council in Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. That's just mayor and council, not even school board and those other levels of government as well.
Well, it's a big opportunity for a refresh with municipal government, given many of the mayors in Metro Vancouver are not running this time around. What do you find is the best way to engage a younger demographic to step up? Does apathy still exist, or do you find that there is more of an urgency with the younger demo?
That's a great question. I think what we're seeing in this municipal election cycle is that issues like affordability, housing, transportation, they're front and center. And those are all young people's issues. So we're actually seeing younger people tuning into the importance of municipal government. Our polling actually found that 18 to 34-year-olds now think that city council is more impactful in their daily lives than the federal or provincial government. So they're definitely tuning in. Now it's just a question of whether they turn up to vote.
And how do you engage them if they're tuning in? And obviously there's some issues if they want to stay in the city, affordability being one of the priorities, whether you're in the millennial demographic or even older. But how do you truly engage them in the process to speak up, show up to forums, have healthy debates so they're engaged in this process?
I think there's a lot of ways to do that, but one of the things that we're really focused on is making sure that young people are taken seriously. Because going back to that polling that we did, 60% of 18 to 34-year-olds don't think that candidates their age are taken seriously. That's despite the fact that most people, 75% of British Columbians, across the ideological spectrum, even older voters, they all want to see a new generation of younger people step up and lead, but there's kind of a confidence gap where those young people, those young potential leaders, don't feel as if they're taken seriously, or they don't feel that confidence that they're ready to step up and lead, especially among young women.
The idea of young is so subjective.
Great point.
So the audience, when you're engaging leading up to the election we're about to have, what is considered young in this, I guess, atmosphere, and what is credibility when it comes to
Great question. Great question. So, I mean, millennials today are between their early 20s and their late 30s. So you've got a whole range within there. You might have that 25-year-old, but quite frankly, you could also have a 35-year-old. You could also have a 32-year-old. And the reality is, if you look across what's happening in our economy, in our society, we're doing this event today, and we've got a 32-year-old CEO, Ian Crosby, who's running a company employing more than 200 people, has raised north of $30 million. There are young people, there are millennials who are leading everywhere across our economy. So we want to reject the idea. We want to completely reject the stereotype that young people, that millennials are a generation that are just living in their parents' basements, eating avocado toast and whining. We want to reject that completely and lay out a positive narrative that young people are already stepping up and leading. They're not the next generation of leadership. It's not a question of whether they are ready. They are already leading everywhere. But with that said, at every level of government, millennials, the largest generation in Canada, are completely underrepresented.
Well, electmillennials.ca is the website. There's a forum with many conversations happening today of how these young leaders can step up and make a change this time around. Gavin, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck with the event. We'll take a break.